Hi, this is Bonnie from Lavinia World, and this video is going to be about what you do with a card that you're not really happy with, and instead of throwing it out, what are some of the options that you can do. And so I made this card and I really liked a lot of the concepts of it, but I wasn't really happy with how the glitter turned out on the flowers. And so I am going to repurpose this card, and I'm still probably not going to throw this away, but I have a plan, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to redo a card. All right, so the first thing that I did is I went ahead and removed this card top from the card base, and it just had a TG glue gun tape on the back. And I decided what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and die cut the part that I am not really happy with, and we're going to go from there. All right, so I die cut that piece out, and I'm actually really happy, a lot happier with the two pieces separate. And I think I'm going to be making two different cards based on a card that I wasn't really happy with. So I'm going to make some plans and I'll be right back. One of my first steps was to use this distress tool. This one is circular, so it fits really well inside of the circle, and to just distress this inside. I want it to look like I purposefully wanted to do this, and this is one way to separate two ideas. And like I said, this works really well, the circular one for inside circles. It's not particularly the intention, but it worked really well. And that's what that's going to look like. And then I went ahead and decided to do that same concept with the circle. I'm probably going to rough it up a little bit more, but it worked really well just to do that. Okay, so I've got that prepared, and I found out that it needed a little bit of distressing to give it the same look to fit underneath. So I'm adding that weathered wood to the part that's going to be showing. The rest of it's going to be tucked underneath, and that should give me the look that I need. And I'll show you what that will look like. So that's going to be fitting right underneath, and it kind of pretty much matches. What I didn't tell you is the paper that I am using is digital paper that is now in the Lavinia store, Lavinia World store, and the paper is called Watercolor Strokes. And all I did was I distressed the edges of it, but that's what I used to stamp the moon too when you saw that at the beginning. I've also decided that I am going to be stamping this stamp on watercolor paper as well, and it is LAV481 Silhouette Thistle. I was planning originally of stamping this on the acrylic, and I have decided that I wanted the look to be a little bit more substantial, so I'm going to be stamping this on the watercolor paper, and then I'm going to be hand cutting it out as best I can. So let me get that started stamping with VersaFine Clair Nocturne. Okay. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to also heat emboss it with using clear embossing powder. Let's see how that looked. Okay, it needs just a little bit more ink, I think, on the solid parts. Watercolor paper tends to absorb the ink quickly. All right, we're gonna go with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the clear embossing powder on, and I'm gonna emboss it, and I'll be right back. I'm going to be stamping the reindeer on watercolor paper using the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. And that's the print that I think I'm going to be using. And I'm going to be putting clear embossing powder on top of him. I just wanted to quickly show you how that looks when you emboss them with clear embossing powder. They have a little bit of a gloss to them, and they make it a little bit more substantial. So I'm going to go ahead and get those cut out, fussy cut, and put them on my card. All right, so I have the thistles all cut out and embossed as I showed you. The same with the reindeer. Both of them have been hand cut. I did use, I have these scissors that I purchased when I was living overseas, and if you can tell, the blades of them are very, very, very thin, and that's what allows me to cut really thin pieces and lines. So I do everything with these scissors. I don't really know where they came from, and I don't really know what that symbol is, what company, but I would buy more of these scissors because they work really well with fine lines. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to be putting this together. I already have the moon fixed on the back, and I need to line up these thistles so they line up with the stems from below. And I think the best way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to use some double-sided tape just to adhere that, and that way they don't move around as much. I'm just going to use this score tape really quickly on them. That's going to allow me to line that up, I think, a little bit better. I didn't test that, but that's what I'm going to do. I probably should have put that behind. You know what? I think I'm going to put it behind here instead. This is what happens when you haven't made one previously and you just kind of wing it. Then as things go, you have to change. Okay, so I've got that double-sided score tape back behind there, and I'm going to line up. I wish these here just a minute. I'm going to curl these a little bit down so they don't stick up as I do it, because the watercolor paper tends to do that a little bit. And I'm going to line those up. You can see the moon's going over one, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. Okay, so that allows me to have those in the place I want them to be. All I'm going to do is just flip those forward, so they're in front of the moon. Now, so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on the card base that I have, the corrugated cardboard. And I have already put the double-sided tape on the back, and I put double-sided tape on the back of the thistles so that they can also be adhered to the corrugated cardboard. And I wanted it to raise up a little bit so there's a little bit of dimension, which is why I put all this double-sided tape back here instead of using the ATG gun. And I'm going to take the tape off the thistles and make that stay down a little bit better. Thistles needed to have their double-sided tape, and I am going to add a little bit more double-sided tape because that had been removed, and so it's lost its stickiness. I always find that redoing a card takes more than doing a card from scratch. All right, so that should be all set up and ready to go to sit on there. I'll see if I can line that up with the camera in front of my face. And that's how I want that to go. Now, this one thistle right here has tape that goes on top of the moon. I think everything else is adhered. All right, so that's all set up, ready to go, and then I'm gonna put my moose on also. And he has a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of him. Just gonna line him up so it looks like he's standing a little bit, looking at the moon, and also standing a little bit on this hill. And I think that's gonna be my card. And that's, I want you to see a little bit closer. And that is how I redid a card to begin with. So hope you enjoyed that. This is one of the things you can add, I don't know that I will do that, is you could add a little bit of glitter back behind here. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of chunky glitter down here, but I am not sure that I'm going to do that with this. If I do, you'll see that in the final picture. Again, I want to thank you for stopping by, and please remember, if you haven't already, to subscribe and come back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the YouTube Lavinia World YouTube design team tutorials. Sometimes there might be other videos in between, but you will always you can check back and see what you know, what we have, what we're showing, and all of the supplies that I used on this card, including all of these stamps that I didn't show you, will be listed below, and any other links that would be beneficial for you. Again, thanks for stopping by.